always more used to that. I have had a Mac since 2004 and I haven't had a PC since, so it's easier for me. I also got rid of the mixer, which I think caused a lot of the problems. So yeah, fingers crossed, or as we do in Sweden, håller tummarna, that it works today. So far, I haven't detected any problems, but there might be some anyway. You never know, right? Yeah. So thank you for joining us today, and as usual, if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, just click subscribe to it, and if you would like to like this clip as well, or both on Facebook and on YouTube, I would be very, very happy. So anyway, last week was Chapter 5, Unbent, Unbowed, Unbroken, and as I said, it was a bit of a mess. It worked in the end, finally, but it was very difficult. But it was okay, you know. But anyway, for this album, I mean, this week we are gonna do. Let's see what choices were. Yes, you had the choice between Built to Last and Revolution. The albums released in a row. Previous Dominion, our most two recent albums, and of course with a slim margin, this one won out. Revolution won. So we're gonna do that today, and I gotta say, that hasn't been that long since I recorded it, or we recorded the album, but oh man, I had to work on some of the songs to play. It was more difficult than I remembered. Let's put it that way. And so, but we'll see. We'll get through this too somehow. Like I said, also we are gonna do all of the all of the albums anyway in the end. So it doesn't really matter which one we pick each week. We're gonna go through them all. But this album was released in 2014. But in order to talk properly about it, I think we'll have to go back to the end of actually the World Outbreak in 2012, which was the tour that we did for Infected. The scenario was this: we had been on the road more or less, or the cycle of being on the road and going into the studio, being on the road, going into the studio. That squirrel wheel, as we call it, hamster wheel is what you say in English, right? It had begun to take its toll on the band. There was no question. People weren't enjoying things as much as we used to. We had also a bit of a problem with management at this time. We had two different managements in 2-3 years, and things did not work out the way we wanted to. Not that we got totally ripped off, but the people that we worked with was not willing to follow our ideals. They wanted to break down the band and build it up in their image, so to speak. And not everybody had tremendous experience in the field that we wanted them to have. So it was a bit of a mixed bag with everything. And then Infected, of course, a very controversial album for HammerFall. Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say so looking back at it, but it turned out to be that. So things weren't on top, let's put it that way. And then we decided I don't remember when we decided this, but during the tour, somehow it was a long tour. It went for over a year. We decided that after this tour was over, we're going to fulfill all our commitments, and then we decided to take a bit of a break. That was the whole idea, just to take a break from HammerFall, basically. So whatever people could do, whatever they wanted to do. Like, you didn't have to worry about next summer that HammerFall is going to do a lot of festivals or things that will take priority over what you planned. So whatever you wanted to do, you could just go ahead and do it. So I guess we all did in our own ways. We just took a step back and let things flow, so to speak. For example, Joachim fulfilled a lifelong dream of his. I think it was to participate in or to be a cast member of a musical. Turned out to be a very, very successful one, the Rock of Ages musical in Stockholm. He played Dennis Dupree, and I think I know he loved every second of it. I think that was one of his favorite performances of his whole life, I think, or at least a favorite time to be a performer, I should say. So he fulfilled a really cool thing for himself there. Anders and Fredrik had kids, so they were busy with that, or another kid's been out with Opeth, I believe, and Candlemass, bands like that. So he kept himself busy on that end. As for myself, I decided to take the time to write a book. This was and see if I have a book here somewhere. I'm going to show it to you. Hang on a second. I should have prepared this, but I'll be back in like 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should have said 10 seconds. Woo, there we go. Ha. So this is my book. It's called Legenden of HammerFall. The Legend of HammerFall. Oops. And it's a pretty thick one. As you can see, a bunch of stuff in it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this one because I'm very, very proud of it. It's something I've always been good at writing stuff. Like that's been my contribution to our web stuff, and everything that's written about HammerFall used to be from me. Now it's not that way anymore, but it used to be that way all the time. But it's a huge difference from writing a short piece of something or a biography or whatever, or a blog maybe, to go to write a full book. So I was a bit nervous about this, but I absolutely loved it when it was done. I was very, very proud of it. So basically, it documents the whole HammerFall career up until 2012 or 13. Well, we didn't do anything in 13, so basically it's the same thing. While doing this, this was a real trip down memory lane for me. Absolutely. I mean, I had to go through first my life, like from the start, and then my early musical career or music. I was dabbling in playing in bands before HammerFall, and then of course the HammerFall took up a lot of, or like 80% of the book, I would guess. And that means it meant I had to go and relive all of these things, and it was actually very, very, very cool for me to do that. I interviewed a lot of people, all the band members, of course. I think I managed to interview all the old band members as well, except Magnus. He didn't want to do this, so fine. I can respect that. But he's the only one that didn't have a say in the book of various items. So Stefan was invaluable for me in this, because he really stepped up and let me talk to him about basically anything I wanted, and he was very candid. And that's a big part of the book, I think. A big part of let me get rid of that shit now. A big part of how why the book turned out the way it did. But everybody had great stories and great stuff to tell. So it was really, really a treat to do it this way. But anyway, like I said, it was very inspiring, and I had to go through each album, each studio recording, stuff I haven't thought about for 10, 15, 20 years almost sometimes, and it was really cool. So I think this whole thing, because when I was done with that, this was, I don't know, maybe September 2013, thereabouts. That's when I handed in the final draft. Or maybe that was a bit earlier, but maybe the book came out in September actually, or October. So I handed in the final draft maybe in July or August, but no matter. When I was done, it was I was ready to write songs. And the thing is, we're right now in the Castle Black Studios, which is a location on my property in Sweden, where this is where we have recorded all of our, every album since I built it. And so when we moved into this house, this was just nothing. This is like a workstation with a slanted floor made of concrete and no interior walls and nothing. It was really like in a bad shape. but I always knew that I could do something good with it. And of course, I didn't do anything myself. I planned it, and I hired contractors to do it for me. When this was done, this was finished, I believe, in January of 2013. But since I was busy with the book then, I told myself I am not going to write any songs or play guitar. Well, I could play guitar, but I'm not going to go out and work on music until I'm finished with the book. And because I had this new place, it was I really wanted to go. I was dying to get out here and start writing songs. But like I said, I told myself not to. So I waited until the book was done. And when the book was done, I had already gone, down this memory lane trip I was talking about. And a lot of people say that Revolution is a bit back to the roots for HammerFall, and I think this is the reason that the music sounds the way it does, because I had just gone through this whole memory lane trip. So it was unintentional, but it was also unavoidable at this point, I'm pretty sure. But once I started writing songs, man, that was so much fun. Things went pretty quickly in the beginning for me. I mean, it always, we had been gone. I hadn't played guitar for a long time and stuff like that. So it took a little while for me to really get into it, to get used to the grind, so to speak, in the studio. But since I had a new studio, which I hadn't done anything in before, I was ecstatic. I mean, it was very inspirational, just that part. And it was a lot of fun. Then also that we realized, I didn't even think of that, but I didn't realize I built a studio so we could rehearse here and I could record my demos and stuff here. But what I didn't realize was that because of the wooden walls and the open spaces, it was pretty good for drum sounds too. So when we started recording, we recorded drums in the other room. And that's where we put up the cabinets and stuff as well. So basically the entire album, except for Joachim's vocals, is recorded here in the studio, and that's the same. We have continued with that for Built to Last and for Dominion as well, because it works really well. It's very relaxed atmosphere. You can always you don't have to worry about like studio time, or you don't have to plan. It's always here. The studio's here. It's not being used by anybody, so we can use it whenever we want. If we just get a feel for it, we can just go back and do it. So it's been really good. I've loved every second we've been in here recording. So okay. So anyway, so we started recording here with the drums, of course, as we always do. The drums comes first. What? Hang on. I'm gonna see if I can. I got some pictures for you as well. And because I have a new, what does Castle Black mean? Okay, yeah, so that's of course has to do with Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire, the book series, or the TV series was out by now as well. But a lot of stuff has anything special. It's Castle Black Studios. It's because Castle Black is one of the fortresses they have on the wall there. Depending on how many songs there are to record, and but I think it went fairly quickly for him this time as well, and I think he was happy. I mean, this was the first time for him. Frederick, where is he? There he is. So this is also, he's sitting right behind me. So we decided to go back to working with Fredrik again. Again, he produced the first two HammerFall albums, which was Glory to the Brave and Legacy of Kings. Back in the 90s. So this was the first time we worked with him again. Volume or the sound, I streamed it. Maybe you have to turn it up if you can't hear me, because it should be fine now for everybody. Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed, like I said. So, where are we? Oh yes, Fredrik Nordström. We wanted to work with him again, which I think is also part of the reason why people felt this album was a bit back to the roots, because we went back to the roots and worked with the same producer, but also because we had Andreas Marshall as a cover artist again, which hadn't happened since Renegade. So it was a lot of things that came together to create this feeling, I think. this is what it looked like when Pontus and Fredrik, Fredman. I'm gonna call him Fredman. His name is Fredrik also, but it's easier for to keep the Fredriks apart. So Fredman, and Pontus is miking the cabinets over here, and they did. I think we mixed a couple of amps in there. It's mainly Marshall, I know that, but it might have been an Engel too, just for flavor. I don't really remember that, to be honest. Um, so there we go. So once the recording started, we quickly went with, because usually what we've done the last couple of days, a couple of recordings have been bass, guitars, and solo. Well, bass and rhythm guitars and solos, and basically spread out over like 3 or 4 weeks or so. So we started with bass and guitar and guitar. So these pictures aren't the best. I couldn't find anything else. I don't know. I think I took pictures with a better camera, but these are from my phone back then. I couldn't find anything else, unfortunately. But so everything, as you can see, everything is in this studio, in this very room where I'm sitting right now, actually. And we had, yeah, this is Pontus and Fredrik tuning. No, Fredrik's tuning. Pontus is practicing something. I don't know what. It's just a bunch of fun memory pictures here for you. Let's see if I have another one. No, that was it. Yeah, that's it. So as we progressed with the recordings, we had this sheet, which is like this. We put up all the songs. As you can see, not all of them had the proper name yet, I think, or they got it during the recordings, maybe when Joachim finished the lyrics and stuff. But that's the first one, second one. We had done a little bit more, and then this one, all done. I loved seeing that one because that meant that we were ready to wrap it up here in Castle Black Studios. And another thing that happened to me personally during this recording was I got a and it's quite for today's pandemic going on. I mean, this was not a pandemic, but I got a really I didn't understand what happened to me. This was in like January. I hadn't been feeling well. I hadn't been able to go to the gym much over the last November and December. I usually go 3 or 4 times a week, and so I felt that a lot, and I didn't have any power, any energy left. And in January, it went really downhill for me. It was so bad that I couldn't even vacuum at home without taking a break and sitting down for a while. I didn't have any. I couldn't catch my breath. When I walked out, took a walk with the dogs. There's a bit of a hill, not a steep one. Well, it's pretty steep, but it's not a long one. But I remember having to stand like on my knees and breathe like that for a while. So there was something definitely wrong with that, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So I went to the doctors, and he just described. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole that system in Sweden right now, but you have to go to a place where they basically want you to treat all the little stuff if they can, as soon as possible. So he just described some penicillin, take this for 10 days, and if it's not get better, come back and we'll try another one. But my health, or my rather at night, that's basically what I had energy to do. Oh no, it's gone here. Fuck. No, there it is. Hang on, I'm not gonna hurt you. Although I wish I would. Lightweight. There we go. There's a lot of action in here tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on. But that was actually a wasp. He was probably this big, like my thumb. Yeah, it was the biggest wasp I've seen in a while, actually. But anyway. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, long story short, I went back to the doctors. He said, oh, well, this didn't work. Let's try this penicillin or antibiotics, as you call it in the U.S. And so I got home. Nothing worked. I mean, it didn't get better. It got worse constantly. So my girlfriend said, there's something wrong with this. You have to... and so she Googled. She's actually very good at Googling. I suck at Googling stuff. I mean, I don't know. I just can't find the right combinations to find the information I want. If it's not really simple. But she spent a lot of time googling my symptoms and what it could be and stuff, and she found out that it could be if you tell deal with difficult issues. They want to deal with the simple stuff like a broken arm or well, then they send you to the hospital. But like a flu or stuff like that. So I got sent to finally, after a lot of talking, a lot of persuading, and a lot of shouting in the hospital. And they took some tests, and after a week or 5 days, I found out that I had something called TWAR. It's a respiratory disease that they called it what the hell is that called? They had it a lot. Anyway, it's caused deaths actually, but mostly long recuperation periods. And one of the most famous skiers ever to come out of Sweden is called Gunde Svan, and he had this as well before me. So I felt that if he has it, and it took him 6 months, I think, to get back, I didn't feel so bad for my situation. But at least I found out what the hell it was. So once I got the right penicillin, the right antibiotics, I got slowly better. The good thing was it was the Olympics. So Olympics, I love sports. I had like an excuse to spend the whole day on the couch now, because I couldn't move really. So I got to watch Olympics all the time. We have, what happened with this? Sorry about going on. I haven't thought about this thing in a long while. So then things come to me as I talk about them. But so we were supposed to start the recordings, I believe, in April, and this made me anxious to get back in there and go work. So we finished everything, or more or less everything anyway. As usual, there was always a straggler here and there. We started recording, and then the TWAR came back actually for a while. But then this time, since they knew what it was, I started feeling. The thing was, it felt like somebody had cut off a part of my throat inside and replaced it with a scab, because I had difficulty breathing. And the only way I could actually sleep was like this, sitting up like this, and then made the air flow really well. And so I felt immediately, when I felt like this thing is coming back in my throat, I called them up and said, "I'm gonna come in from testing." "Yes, come in here." They took it. A couple of days later, they found out what it was. I got another penicillin cure, or an antibiotics cure, and then we went to. Yes, this was during the recordings of the guitars and stuff. And then we went to Los Angeles, actually, for the first time. And this is something I probably should have set up a little bit better. But so Joachim really wanted to work with James Michael again. And the album previous to this was Infected, which James produced for us. And there we go. And Joachim wanted to work with him because he felt so great, and everything was so good in Infected for him. They clicked really well. James is an amazing person and a fantastic singer and a great producer too. So that was the thing. But he had moved from Nashville to LA now, so we had to go to LA for 2 weeks to record. But it was pretty fucking fun, I have to say. So because we wanted to. We thought, or Joachim brother was his idea, as most things are, but he thought that because we do this once, we might never do it again. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's rent ourselves a cool car. So we got a Dodge Challenger, I think, or something like that, or Mustang. No, I don't remember. I think it was a Dodge. It was a pretty cool car, not the greatest color. The microphone on that side, I didn't think this through properly, but. So that's Joachim outside of Firehouse Studios, and so we met up with James actually before this picture was taken. We met up with him in just a coffee shop. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in 3 years, and just fun to hang out and talk to him again and see him. It was a really really cool reunion. We all had a tremendous time. So Joachim feels comfortable working with James. He produces Joachim to perform, basically. I mean, it's a great symbiosis. I mean, Joachim, of course, does the performing, but James helps him achieve stuff, the best stuff that he can possibly do. It's difficult to explain especially since I'm not a part of it. I just see what they're doing together, and I love it. That's the bottom line. So they went all out. We recorded 12 songs, I think, in there, and but it was also a lot of fun to do. A lot of hardship and a lot of stuff, But once it was finished, it was a lot of fun. And we even got James to sing vocals on some stuff. So this is, I don't know if you can see that, Joachim and James are adding background vocals on something. I know James sang harmonies on the ballad Winter is Coming. He did a lot of other stuff too, like just backing stuff. But he also did, whenever. It might happen, it might not, but who knows. It was fun as hell anyway. And I just remembered, I forgot to show you Joachim singing. So here we go. There he is. He performing to the best of his and anyone's abilities. Firehouse Studios was a studio. We rented it for 2 weeks or whatever. It's about 2 weeks, I think. And we spent all our time there not in the main room. I think we were in the smaller studio, because the main room had a choir coming in and out, which was from left to right. Left in white t-shirt, James, which is actually a very, very famous MMA fighter and pro wrestler. I got to know him a couple of years earlier during NAMM, and I just on a whim sent out a text when we got there, like, do you want to come help us sing backing vocals? I think he was a little bit nervous because he didn't know what it entailed. We didn't really know each other, but he turned up, and it was a blast hanging with him, and he's a super nice guy, and he has been a friend of ours ever since. He comes to all the shows that we do in LA, so he's brilliant. And of course you have James there with the hat on, and then at the far right you have Stason. He's another friend of ours who just a metal fan. He loves metal music, and he's a great guy and a lot of fun to hang out with. So we invited him to sing as well. And he's also been singing on the last 3 albums, believe it or not, because he lives in LA. So he's been backing vocals, doing backing vocals for all 3 of them. So there we have it. That's the LA session. And when we got back to Gothenburg, we also, I can't forget this, we had another backing vocal session. This one, this was done, the mixing was done in Studio Fredman in Fredrik's own studio, and the crew here, we sort of mixed all of the voices together to get a great blend of voices. So you have Björn from In Flames, of course, then you have Johan and Mats, which have been singing on many previous HammerFall albums, like both the ones we recorded in Lundgård. In the very far back there you have Marcus, which is the drummer of Ceremonial Oath, my old death metal band. Then of course in the front you have Stefan, and then there's Fredrik, I think, yeah, Fredrik, and then you have Daniel, who have been working with us a little bit as well. At this point he was driving our car during the Swedish outbreak, for example. The very back on the right you have Niklas Isfelt, which is the singer of Dream Evil, another Gothenburg band, the band of Fredrik Nordström, actually, the friend that he's a member of that band. And Niklas Isfelt was the backing vocalist on both our previous Fredman productions as well, I think he did harmonies on both of them, and this was way before Dream Evil, of course. And then on the far right, with the muscular arms, you have Patrick, our old drummer, Patrick Reffling. It was really fun to reacquaint with him, because we hadn't seen him in a long while either. And in the front on the right you have Sanjay, which is he worked as a tour manager for Hardcore Superstar. He's done us as well, a couple of shows, and now he works with In Flames since many years as their I don't know exactly what his job title is, but he works with them on every tour that they do. So that was another fun thing. And then of course Fredrik mixed the whole stuff in in his own studio, and I think that's part of why the album sounds. I forgot to mention because Stefan was in that picture. He actually showed up in the studio one time to hang out with us, and this was just for fun. I mean, he was interested in HammerFall recording an album. He wanted to hang out. He of course lives here in close to Gothenburg, so it was close for him to come and hang out. And we took this picture because he was just hanging there. We didn't have any future plans or anything, but more on that in a second. So we had a release party as we always do, or normally do. This took place at 2112 in Gothenburg. This is the restaurant or the restaurant slash bar of Peter and Björn from In Flames. And it was pretty cool. We had a really good time there, as you can see. I don't know if what this was. Maybe we were just sitting there for interviews, or if we did a signing session. I don't remember. But yeah, it's not entirely impossible that we did. But yeah, so this was the band anyway. The last, well, not the last, but yeah, a photo from that part anyway. So then we did the release party, which was like well, no, this was this was not a release party. This was a listening session. This whole thing. We had a listening session for journalists. That's what it was actually. Now that I have to get my facts straight. So this was probably late July, I'm guessing, or something like that. July anyway. And then we did a couple of shows, and then we had a show here on the big amusement park Liseberg, which was on the very day of the release of the album, if I'm not mistaken. This was our first show in Gothenburg in many years, in several years. So it was a big deal for us. It was a big place, like outdoors, free, and well, you have to pay a little bit to get in, but it didn't cost the same as a normal concert ticket. And that show was a great return for us. We didn't really know how people were going to react after being gone for a couple of years. And especially after Infected and that criticism that album unfairly, in my opinion, got. But the release party was tremendous. It was really good. People stayed. We actually signed autographs after the show. We sat down, and the line was so long that when the park closed at 11 or whenever it closed, there were still people waiting. So they had to basically, move us out of there. So it was tremendous for us, that party, and but it turned out to be Anders' last show with the band, which none of us knew. I don't even know if he knew, probably, but I don't know, because I was really busy. Then my girlfriend was really pregnant. It's like my first and only kid was going to be born, I think 5 days after this, or 6 days after this release party. So, it could happen at any time, right? So that was where my mind was at after this. I was really occupied with that. So, but I remember being at the maternity ward. I think this is right after she got the baby, and I got an email from our booking agent in Germany. It said, "So I hear that Anders is not going on the tour with you. So who shall I write the? We have to buy the plane tickets and visas and stuff like that." I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I didn't, but of course, since the child, everything was so overwhelming at that point for me. So I just spoke to Joachim on the phone, and he tried to call Anders, and I actually called Anders a couple of times too, but he didn't pick up. So basically, what he had done after the show at Liseberg, everything was going back here, but I think he knew that he wasn't gonna continue with HammerFall, so he took his drums and drove them back to Malmö, where he lives. But I didn't know this at the time, so it was a total shock for everybody. I think for all of us. What made it really a lot more painful for me was that he never gave me a good reason why. I have now puzzled together what I think his mindset was at, but back then it was really frustrating because I loved him, but I still do. But he was a big part of HammerFall, and it was, for me, it was like after 15 years, he just say bye and leave, and not even get to talk to him, or like an explanation for what it felt like, breaking up with your girlfriend of 15 years. It was devastating. I was devastated at that. But I also had my son to focus on for a while there, and we, because of that, and I don't know if you guys have kids, but if you do, the birth of your first one, you don't know anything. I mean, you can expect everything, but you can't expect anything because you don't know what it's going to feel like, what it's going to be like. So that consumed me entirely at that point. So we did have to find a new drummer for because Anders was nice enough to tell us this, or to alert us of this early enough. I mean, if he wanted to be an asshole towards us, he could have just gotten out of everything. I decided that day before the tour started, saying, "Oh, sorry, I'm not going to do this. Bye bye," or whatever. He could have done that. He didn't. He gave us a couple of months' notice, so that was good. That was really nice of him. That gave us some time to find, because we had a South American tour lined up. Started in Russia actually, but then we went to South America with Ed Guy and Gotthard, I think. And then after, this was in November probably, or maybe early December. And after that, we went to start. We just started the tour in Europe in January and February. So we had a bunch of shows, like a big block of shows planned, and so we needed to find a drummer. Of course, we need, show must go on, and so like I said, I was busy, or preoccupied, or my mind was elsewhere. So Pontus and Joachim took it upon themselves to find a drummer for us, and we needed somebody that could fill in quick, that could do the job, and that that was a nice guy to hang around with, basically, because we're going to be in hotels and planes and buses and stuff for the next couple of months, pretty intense. And Pontus had a guy called David Wallin, and I didn't know him because I live in Gothenburg. He was from Stockholm, but Pontus knew him from years and years back. And David was the drummer of Pain, the Swedish band Pain, but they weren't playing that much, and this was we needed David for these 4 or 5 months or whatever it was, and then that was I think the first arrangement, like, we do these and then we reevaluate if everybody's happy, and we move on. So when David showed up here, I mean, I knew the process, I knew everything, I knew what he was, who he was, where he came from, and what he looked like, and all that. But I hadn't met him. So the first time I actually met him was when we rehearsed for the tour a couple of days before the tour started, which was pretty cool. I mean, if David would have been a different person, this might have been a problem, but because he's such a nice guy and easy to get along with, and also a really fantastic drummer that fit the HammerFall sound terrific, tremendously well. It was, and he's young too. I mean, he's not that young, but he was he's like 4 years younger than me, I think. So he's the youngest in the band, but he also brought that like, just the youthful, like, yeah, fuck, this is fun. Yeah, let's rehearse this song, With Anders, he's been playing the same songs as we had for 15 years, and I'm not that fond of rehearsing Hearts on Fire anymore, to be honest with you. I think that kind of sucks. But David had never played it before, so songs that were tedious to rehearse, he thought, oh fuck yes, let's go, let's play. It was like a vitamin injection to get David in the band, and I think that he was the absolute right man for the job. They could not have gotten any better person for the job there. What also happened then at this point in time was that Frederick had his second kid. So we had a whole long tour planned. He couldn't do it because the baby was due during one part of the tour. So we decided to try to get a replacement for him because we couldn't postpone the shows. And the only worthy replacement was close at hand. Like I said before, I alluded to before, Stefan was was ready and available. And I didn't. Joachim suggested this to me over the phone. I said, "Sure, it's a great idea, but would he want to play bass when he can play guitar?" And of course, we're not going to replace Pontus. We're going to replace the bass player, Frederick. But he said yes. Fuck yes, I think he said, even as far as I remembered. He was really ecstatic about going on tour again. He hadn't been out on the road for at this point 7 years. So for him, it was a great opportunity. And we also incorporated a medley that he took. I think Pontus and he switched switched instruments. Sorry. So that Stefan played guitar and Pontus the bass in a short medley of songs that sort of enhanced or that showcased Stefan's guitar playing, whatever, you know, which I thought it was really fun every night to do that. But the first show that we did, I'm rambling. Oh, fuck! I talked for 46 minutes. All right, I'm gonna wind down here. Here we go. So this is the picture taken after the first show. This was in Russia, a big festival in Moscow with Accept. I think they played on the second day or this day, I don't remember. We used this guitar, and, as you can see on the picture I showed earlier. There's this guitar and this studio here. Previously, it's gonna come back as well. Once we do Built to Last, it's gonna make a comeback. All right, so we got a couple of tracks for you. Like I said, I have. Yeah, I'm gonna start with an easy one. This one I should probably know by heart. Wrote it. I suck at playing and talking at the same time. It's no fun doing the chords only, but yeah, that's thank you. That's what makes up a great song: the chords and the fantastic melodies from Joachim on top of it. That's the perfect HammerFall song. So I have to run through these pretty quickly. Another song that we did play live on every show on the previous two tours, but this one did not make the set list this time, unfortunately. That's just the way it is, but I really love this song. So. Alright, there we go. That's that one. Not so much fun. I think you get the picture. Alright, this one. I love this song, and I'm gonna. Yeah, I should probably talk a little bit about the songs too, but maybe I should talk less and play. Yeah, I love that riff. I think it's one of my favorite ones. Just the heaviness of the song. It came out really well, I thought. Mm-hmm. Again, one of those songs that probably would have gone over really well if we did it live. But ex inferis in English means from hell. Again, around the Latin, of course, ex inferis. But the line is something blah 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 ex inferis. So I don't remember what it was, but save us from hell maybe, or something like that. Whatever. Ex inferis means from hell. And now. Yeah, Live Life Loud. Another killer song from my opinion. A song that we played 4 of these live. This was an album I think that we all felt so strongly about. We could have played half of the songs at least on the road, but we were also a bit safe. We played it safe on that tour, since we didn't know how people were gonna react to the new album. We played only 4 of them. There we go. So this is one of my favorite songs of the album. We never did that one in the title track. So the title comes from Planet of the Apes. I don't know which one that was. It came out around this time, like 13 or so. I don't remember. It's a Dawn? No. Yeah, whatever the album was. I mean, the movie was called. I don't remember. But in Swedish movies sometimes the movie theater sometimes translates or makes up their own, in this case, titles of movies. So this one was called Planet of the Apes, in Swedish Apornas planet, and then this Revolution. And I just thought it was fucking perfect for everything. So I decided to make a song out of it, and then Joachim and I agreed on putting this as an album title as well. So let's see how this one goes. All right, okay, so I think I know how it goes. This part is always the pre-chorus. That's because the riffs I can probably get through, but sometimes the chords I don't know which chords. But this one I know. Yes, Revolution. And the final one, Origins. We played this on the Built to Last World Tour that we did. Don't know if we did it everywhere, but I think we did. Yeah. Drum fill. So yeah, there was a bit of auto tune there. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead because I felt it went okay, not perfect, but okay. Pretty, yeah, it was pretty fun. And this is an album that when I went through it again, like went back to it and listened to all the songs and picked out what I was gonna play today. I realized that this album has a lot of songs that could have fit well into any set list on any HammerFall era, I think. It gets so difficult every time, you have to put this in, put that in, and the set list just grow bigger and bigger, and you want to play all of the songs. It's impossible. But I would like to play Bushido again. I realize this now. That's a really good live song for us. So hopefully we can squeeze that in. We'll see. Yeah, not this tour, of course, but well, see if this is another tour. Who knows? Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Now I gotta shill some merch for you because you know that since we can't do any other tours for now. Every band, and this goes for all bands that are out there, we don't have any more income for the rest of the year, basically. So all of the stuff that you can do to support your favorite bands by buying merch and stuff, it will absolutely help them for sure. I know that times are maybe tough for everybody, so I'm not saying go out and do it, but if you feel like contributing, you're more than welcome. And just for us to make it worth your while, we got some stuff going on. This is a Dominion shirt. It's not a tour shirt. It's the album shirt, I think. Right? Yes. Serve in Heaven and Reign in Hell, which is just spot on, perfect, absolutely perfect line from Joachim. It's a line from the song. I just love it. And then we have this, of course. It's the deluxe album box set, which I think Napalm did a great job with. It contains some fun stuff. Is there a single in there too? I don't even remember what's on the single now, to be honest. But there's a bunch of stuff that you can check out if you feel like getting that stuff. And they ship worldwide, so no problem with that. And as usual, you can find this is right here. No. Why not right here? Oh, right here. Okay, sorry. There we go. I don't know what happened now, but fuck it. So yeah, you can find all that stuff at hammerfall.net/merchandise. Yeah, anyway, that's where we go. You can go for all this stuff. And of course, they ship worldwide, like I said. So feel free to explore that if you like. hammerfall.net/merchandise. And now, I think I'm done. I mean, it was a fun hour. I sorry for talking so much today. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. What was it? All right, so let's see. What was that? meant to have merch for London back. Oh yeah, yeah. That's okay. I'm gonna end on this. This was for the Revolution tour. We did a show in May, I think, in London. Fantastic show at the O2 Academy, I believe, or the O2 something. Fantastic, fantastic show. We had a T-shirt printed just for that show. Is it had some, it was like a version of the Revolution album cover with a warrior and a British flag behind it. Really, really cool. But Unfortunately, the UPS or whatever, I don't remember, but maybe you're right. Somebody screwed up the order,